Hey, what's up, guys? This is Kay from Lunarlight. Hope you guys are doing well. And we're back again trying to get through the rest of this game. Alrighty then. Let's see, what were we doing last time? Oh, right. Still trying to nab all the cars in this menu. And we're still trying to unlock all the locations. It's pretty slow going though. Let's see, what do we got here? There's the one. So we only need to make third. So, let's see, which car can we use? I really don't like some of these cars. They're way too wobbly unless you really upgrade them. I guess in a sense I've been spoiled from Gran Turismo Sport, where tuning your car really wasn't much of a big deal. I mean, aside from using your mileage points to unlock higher levels in which you can change to power tuning, to now where we really have to grind up money to buy parts. So yeah, we're already in the 911 GT3, so let's just go ahead and finish this race off. I'm fairly sure if we did not pre-order this game, it'd be a lot more grindy than it is currently. We're kind of stuck in an odd spot where we're basically just blowing through the game with money that was given to us by the pre-order. But you know, we gotta take every perk that we are given. Okay, so despite having this car entirely stock, we're not struggling too much. The car is not really slipping and sliding as much as I thought we were going to be, because we just cut into second. Oops. There we go. That's what happens when you don't brake early enough and can't get enough grip in your tires. Well, that's alright though. I hope some of you out there have already registered for the Pokemon International Challenge. I just finished my first 5 matches, I think. Actually, scratch that. So, oh wow, these tires really don't have any stopping power. Anyways, as I was saying, there's an international challenge tournament going on for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I really hope you guys have taken the time and compete in, I would say, about 3 matches, win or lose, because the prize for participating is an exclusive shiny Galarian Zapdos, I think. Oops. Started slipping and sliding there. Yeah, we're not really getting much traction with these tires. Even slamming down on the brakes doesn't seem to provide much grip. As you can see by the meter on the left. Yeah, I think I'm way too spoiled by how things went in Gran Turismo Sport. Because I definitely don't think the devs intended you to play it like this, unless, you know, you were spending ungodly amounts of money on microtransactions. So we won. And we got our reward. It's been a pretty quiet Saturday where I'm at. I hope it's been the same for you guys. Okay, so I think we've won all the intended races right now. Yeah. There's also the Clubman Cup Plus, but I don't think we're really supposed to start those races quite yet, even though we do have the recommended cars. Got another photo to add to our belt. So congratulations, you've got all 3 cars. This completes your French Hot Hatches collection. Once you've collected your rewards, I've got some stories to tell you about these cars. What if I don't really want to hear about it? Who are these 3 people? Well, besides Luca, here's Chris. Oh, hi, Chris. Did you find a cool car to size up today? This is Chris. He loves to appraise cars, and he's really good at it, too. Good to see you both. So, the appraiser, so he's got like a comic book title. This is a sports car that made no compromises, embodied the Porsche spirit. Oh, great, more history lessons. 997 GT3 after 2008 produced twice the downforce than the previous car. Also, the engines and brakes were even more powerful. So what is this, a downgrade? Utilize an engine crankcase that was developed for racing since they're air-cooled models. And who is this guy? Is this your 997? The famous designer who worked for GM, BMW, and Mazda. So we got a famous car designer. Cool, I guess. Goes by the first name Tom. I wonder why. Oh, nicknames are nicknames. Lost in transition from the 993 to the 996. So what happened to the 994 and 995? Few of these elements have become something that is unique to Porsche. Turn signals are integrated with the bumper's air intake opening. Cool. But how would you go ahead and replace the lights on those? I mean, I guess. How about we don't? Another history lesson. I feel like they could have just used all this information and they could have taken all the information and just put it into a sub menu where we can just learn about it if we want to on our free time instead of having to play through this as if it was the entire campaign. It's really weird. French manufacturers have been involved in motorsport for a very long time. Nice slideshow about French cars. The Renault Sport, Megane, and Clio. I think I would be more entertained by this if Jeremy Clarkson or even Richard Hammond was the one reading this off. I think they're probably too expensive for the scope of this game, though. I mean, honestly, this is probably something that we'd probably get off Top Gear or the Grand Tour. Okay. Instead of, telling us about the cars, why aren't there races, that are specifically set for those, makes... It's so weird. So what is this? So we gotta enter another championship. Cool. Racing in Alsace. No, please, I really want to come back. I think this game could have used more cutscenes like this over the constant menu books full of reading. That was actually pretty nice anyway. Another loot box. Give us a Honda or Hyundai. No. Nice. 30,000 credits. Enough for a tire change or two. Got a new French car. Where is it? Here we go. The 208 GTI. If you want to read more, just go ahead and pause the video if you're watching on YouTube. Okay, enough of that. So we got a new championship to race in. We have 2 races, and they take place in Alsace. Basically the same course. The regular default setting and the reverse. Oh, great. We're kind of limited to which cars we can use. So we pretty much can only use these. Let's try rolling in the Clio. Let's see how this goes. I don't suppose we can change some things with this. Or no, we have to tune the car manually and also buy parts. Let's see if we can win this using the stock car, and if not, we'll use some of our money to upgrade and earn parts. Okay, so now this is what we're talking about. So now that we pretty much have a race with some fixed makes and models, this is actually a bit more competitive rather than having, you know, one super overpowered car racing against a bunch of what are essentially consumer grade cars. It's actually a bit more fair. Kind of like in the past how they had horsepower limits. But you can make up for the horsepower limit by having better tires or a better setup for your gear ratios. But right off the bat, we're not struggling too much. In fact, I think we might be able to take first. Oh, we should have started braking earlier. This is going to be fairly straightforward. You only have to pursue only about 3 more cars, and we only have about a 4 second. We have a 4 second, 5 second gap between us and the lead car. That is, I hope it doesn't get some sort of ridiculous speed boost for whatever reason. We should be able to beat him on the straightaway though. Or even this upcoming low speed corner. We'll see though, once we start heading into low speed corners we should be able to make up for the lost time. Oh, should have went slower. I think ideally we could have won this. I'm not sure if we'll be able to make it to the end. Now we might not be able to make it. Our acceleration is just oddly not strong enough. Nope. Just gonna have to retry. We're making way too many mistakes. I don't think we really need an upgrade or anything. We just need to drive more cleaner. So the cars at the end of the pack are pretty easy to outspeed, but towards the upper middle, those AI controlled cars are super quick on their wheels. Car is kind of in the way. That corner is all about throttle control. Kind of went into that corner too quick. Okay, there we go. Didn't bleed off our speed. I really do wonder if they disabled drafting more in this title than in the last. Because it really doesn't seem like you can catch any sort of advantage by drafting against another opponent. Because what used to happen was that if you were driving behind the lead car, you would get a small speed boost because theoretically, just like in real life, you accelerate more because you're behind another car and you're catching their slipstream. But it seems like in this, it really doesn't make a difference whether you're behind another car or not. Because it never seems like you're going to be going any faster if the acceleration doesn't let you. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to overcome the lead car. Yeah, we don't have enough room. Let's try one more time, and then if not, we'll go pick up maybe a turbo or something. Or upgrade our tires. That's probably one thing I don't miss about these classic Gran Turismo games. It's just such a grind to get the parts you need for your car. Unless you win like a specific race over and over and over again until you max out on credits, and then you don't have to worry too much about grinding anymore. Because at that point it's less about your skill in the game and more about whether your car can actually perform. I mean, ideally you could beat this race no problem. But it's just, do you have the right amount of skill? Because some of these races, in order to win using a lower powered car, is actually pretty difficult. Okay, we can just speed through him. And also him. Yeah, without having better AI in this game, it's not really fun at all. Especially AI that doesn't really make any mistakes. They're just like pre-programmed machines that will travel the same line, and it's almost an artificial sort of difficulty because the AI just they just don't make mistakes. It's not human. It's kind of immersion breaking, actually. But yeah, after playing through this race for about 3 times, it's really obvious the AI just has its own pre-programmed thing going on. Making too many errors right there. Yeah, we're not going to get higher than this. In order to get first, you'd have to drive an insanely perfect line. Neither of which I'm that keen on doing right now, so we'll just settle for third. And then we'll make up for it after we tune our car. Okay, so let's go on to the next race. Okay, so you have to race in the reverse direction. Let's just try to make third. And we'll come back around. Some of these AI cars really need to learn how to, you know, move out of the way if they're going a lot slower. Oops, crap. Alright, so we're in 6th. Yeah, so on further inspection, the AI is super artificial. None of them ever, you know, overtake one another. They're generally always in the same position. So you're not really racing against them, you're just racing ahead of them. Maybe you can understand what I mean. It's more like trying to drive through traffic rather than drive in a race. And that's such a disappointing thing to realize, because it makes the game that much less fun. And it actually even detracts from the fact that it's supposed to be a simulator. Okay, so in an uphill battle, I think we'll be able to win, because I think this car is better suited for hill climbs rather than driving downhill. That's one thing I wish this game sort of included. You know, hill climb races, downhill races. Oh wow. Don't ever try to brake in the middle of a turn, you won't be able to get any traction. Yeah, just like that. We should be able to overtake him though. Okay, so now this is a race. I'll take the inside, force him out. Yeah, kind of odd how on the reverse section we're actually a lot speedier than on the default setting. I think that's probably due to the downhill section, where power doesn't really matter nearly so much. So what do we get? Second? Oh, number 1 overall. Weird. Real weird. Which car shall it be? Okay, we got the Corvette. Kind of wanted the Mustang, but that's whatever. Okay, so yeah, overall we ended up getting more points than the competition. Weird. So the car that actually would have beaten us, the one that got the most points in the first race, didn't get first in the second race. They ended up getting fourth place in the second race, so that barely pushed us into the winning position. So cool. I guess things kind of worked out that way. Didn't have to replay this, so I guess we're good. Let's see what we get for our gift. Do we get the safety car? Sweet. Well, that's the first time we got a car out of a loot box. Nice. We received the Magan safety car. Cool, cool. I think we also received another car around here. Where is it? Right, the Chevy Corvette. It's interesting. Alrighty then. Let's go back to the cafe. We should be able to access missions. What are missions? Oh, great. We have to do trials. Missions. Do we really need trials in a game where we already have some pretty difficult licenses to earn? Missions are now open. Okay. So, what is this? I don't think we really needed this transition. You gotta love how pretentious some of this can be. So it's over here. Magic Mountain. Okay, so Trials, yeah. Trials. I mean, cool, I guess. I think these were some of the more, not necessarily dumber, but the more tedious things to do in the previous Gran Turismo games, which were pretty much left uncompleted because I didn't really find much use for them. Plus, they're also highly more difficult because you're instantly disqualified if you end up hitting one of the other cars. We're in first. Pretty easy. Yeah, I never really liked these things. They arguably turn what should be what the game is all about, races, into something really dumb, which are just basically trials. I could have done without these. I just forgotten how... Yeah. I just forgotten because the last Gran Turismo game that had a campaign was, I think, Gran Turismo 5? But I don't remember there being many trials in that game. I think there were some, but they weren't uniquely difficult, I think. Plus, they were completely optional. Yeah, I'd rather not. Just give us races, more championship cups. Okay. What's my reward? Oh, a new track. I think I dislike Willow Springs probably... It's probably my second to third least favorite track. So we got a new menu. So we're unlocking all the Mustangs. I mean, it is an American classic, but I don't really see Mustangs on the road that much anymore. I think it's kind of fallen off the wayside unless you're a car collector or a car enthusiast. I think I've seen more Camaros nowadays than I do see Mustangs. Hell, I've seen like more 8.6s and your usual Supras. You know, your Lancers, your Imprezas, WRX, STIs. But a Mustang? Seriously? I don't think I've seen one since I was a kid. And even then, they weren't like treated as, you know, muscle cars. They were like your daily drivers. Okay, so we gotta drive using an American car, I guess. Oh, the only one we have is this. More geography lessons. So finally, are they introducing drafting? So are they finally implementing it in the game or something? Because that really could have been useful in the last couple of races we've been kind of going in. I don't think it's working. So we don't have a fifth gear. This is only a fourth gear car, so. Okay, so now it does seem to be working. Whoops. Sliding all over the place. Funny now how they decide to enable it, because for the last couple races it didn't seem like it was on at all. It really does feel like we're racing on ice. It's kind of weird how the car physics does not align up to what I know from muscle memory. Don't think we're going to be able to make it to third place. It's just so easy to lose. Yeah, that's not going to work. I think we're going to have to get a new car. So let's find a new car. So as far as American cars go, we need an FR. Let's see what's on offer. Okay, we can either take the Camaro. We can also straight out buy the Mustang that we need. Actually, why don't we do that? It's cheap enough. Okay, so we got the car. I don't think we need to do anything with that. If I remember right, in the first Gran Turismo game, if you bought a car off the brand new lot, you could switch out the oil and all of a sudden get a horsepower boost, get a power boost. Yeah, so we're right in the power point limits, so let's go ahead and race. Should be able to win on the straightaway. Kinda in the way, dude. It's not a Mustang, that's a freaking Viper. Whoops. Out of my way, folks. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, this is definitely not something like Daytona. You really do have to slow down at times, especially during a corner like that. Oops, screwed up. Should be able to hold our ground though. We didn't even get enough money to cover our car. Alright, we got the Ford Mustang Boss. Cool. Also leveled up. And we got a new driving suit. I mean, cool, I guess. I don't really see how those cosmetics really matter anyway, because you only see them in cutscenes. Alright, so this is one that's near and dear to me. Racing on the Laguna Seca Raceway. I've yet to actually visit this. But I do live, I mean, generally within the same area, so hopefully I'll be able to see it one day. Oh, these cars are so slow. Okay, so this is a better balanced racetrack. Probably because it's an actual racetrack. Some of the, created tracks that are made specifically for Gran Turismo really have a weird kind of design element to them. It's as if they understand what they want a racetrack to be like, but without actually putting in the actual, corners that would probably be like a racetrack. Yeah, so again, this is less a race rather than trying to drive as fast as you can through traffic. I think one thing I've got to start learning how to do in terms of technique is just to brake, and then once you're at the speed you want to be at, downshift and then accelerate out. That's one thing I've always never learned from these games. Oops, screwed up. Because in terms of, real driving, you want to put your car at the correct RPM before, downshifting. Pretty much, like rev matching, but this game really does not do that. It doesn't really teach you much about any of the more realer, or not real, but more realistic driving techniques. screwed up pretty badly, but we still managed to win. At the end of the day, this is still very much a video game. You'll learn all you can about, braking, downshifting, and corner attacking, but this game doesn't really implement, if you mistime your gear shifts, your car may, either lock up or die. Anyways. Let's see, let's move on to the next race. What is this anyway, the meeting place? Oh. So with this we can essentially create a chat lobby and just race against people. It's interesting. I guess it's like a virtual showroom / car meet. Interesting, but not really interested in that right now. Let's finish off the last race. I mean, honestly, we don't even have to race this at all, but let's just do it anyway. Okay, so what's up, Felix? Like Chevys? A 64 Impala. Now, if I remember right, that's the car from, what was it? It's definitely the car from Supernatural. It was either a 60... No, never mind. I think it's a 67. 67 Impala. As for the El Camino, rains once a decade. Alright, let's race. Man, that sun is blinding. You really gotta control your throttle. I'm finding that I have to be very gentle with the car in order to not spin out or lose grip. Which is a strange feeling because previous Gran Turismo games you could pretty much go flat out on turns and it really would not affect you. Now, if you're a little too heavy with the throttle or the brake, you will definitely either spin out or understeer. Yeah, that didn't work. Yeah, see, you really can't throttle too much while you're turning. Otherwise your tires will start spinning out. The surprising bit is that we're still keeping up. I think we're doing okay. The heck? He spun me out. Yeah, that's not good. Lame. So what happened there is that the AI just did not want to cooperate. It didn't want to slow down, so it basically just nudged my tail and spun me out. That goes to show you the AI is basically just running on rails. It's funny to think that in the near, like 20 years this game series has been out, the AI really has not improved at all since the start. Despite everything having taken a huge turn for the better. We're just about to pass up Felix. You know what this game's driving reminds me of? It feels kind of like Grand Theft Auto 4. In that it feels like the cars have weight, but it feels like you're driving a boat. Like it's always like wobbling back and forth. Almost unnecessarily. Yeah, it's to the point where I can't even use the full power of the car. I kind of have to tiptoe around the fact that the car will pretty much spin out if I apply too much throttle. Should be able to win now. Yeah, it's a really strange feeling. Okay, so we won. Did we also get that brand new car? So when do we get to unlock drifting in this game? Seems like it's taking quite a while. So we already won there. Won all these races, all these races. Gonna save that for later. These races we already won. We won all these. I think this will come in later. As well as these. So we just finished this. Okay. Congratulations, you got all 3 cars. This completes your Mustang collection. Sweet! Now we can race over at Daytona. Wait, was that the whole reward? Can't talk about American sports cars without mentioning the Ford Mustang. First generation Mustangs. You know, someone was actually paid to look up all this information, research it, and write about it. Someone who's very enthusiastic about Ford Mustangs. Cool. Well, it's impressive, but I think whoever's writing this needs a spell checker because, let's see, there aren't many cars that boast more than half century of history. I think you need to add an A after a than. So it makes the Ford Mustang the quintessential American pony car. Interesting, so we're moving on to the Camaro. Now that you have a Mustang collection, I'd like you to move on to Camaros. So now they're a high-performance classic produced by GM via the Chevrolet brand. Cool. Send us on our way and we'll collect the next 3 cars. Alrighty then. We got some more locations set up. So we're racing in the American Sunday Cup. Got one race here. One race here. And one over at Daytona. Let's try this out. Can we just drive? Yeah, we already got American cars, so let's just drive using this one. Cool. 3 laps around Daytona. I hope they also have the Indy course here too. Really like to see and race in the Indianapolis Speedway as well. Maybe even use one of the F1 cars in place of an Indy car. Or if we're lucky, there should be an Indy car in this game anyway. Fingers crossed anyway. So on this course, this is where the drafting technique really comes into play. Because the only way to get faster and faster is to use each car's slipstream. Are we going to be able to make it though? I don't think so, because we don't have any backup cars to help us overcome this. And it doesn't seem like the AI really wants to cooperate either. Come on, dude, push forward. In order to properly utilize the full potential of drafting, you really need partner cars. Because how it works is that you use the car behind you to increase your speed, and you work as a team with each other. Whoops. Yeah. We're just gonna settle for third right now and then come back around. We got the car anyway. Let me see if we can buy a better transmission. Let's see, how about a sequential fully customizable racing transmission. Let's go back. Alright, so we have, not necessarily that, fully customizable, so let's adjust our top speed. Nope, that's not good. I think if we increase our top speed to right about there, we should be able to win. Now, in a race like this, your acceleration doesn't really make too much of a difference between getting into your higher speeds, because you're going to use drafting to help increase your speed limit. So your top speed is mainly determined by your success at drafting your partner or your opponents. Because since we're going so fast anyway, we can't accelerate anymore because our gears won't allow us to do that. I hope we'll be able to do this though, because it doesn't seem like we might. Yeah, see, without drafting and getting into another car slipstream, we start losing speed. But the moment that we are, we instantly start gaining speed. Might have to redo this. I don't think we have enough room for us to get into the lead. I think if anything, we should be able to max our top speed a bit more than this. Okay, so gotta watch out for this car though. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up. It's very hard when you don't have any partners. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. We just don't have nearly enough room. I really wish that your tires did not contribute to your power points, because it kind of eliminates any sort of, I want to say, potential for you to kind of tip things in your favor. Let's see how this works. Okay, doing all right. Should be able to gain on them. Either that or we might have to switch up our tires. It doesn't really feel like we can catch up to them. Yeah, for whatever reason we can't. There's just not enough help that we can get from the previous cars. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. We just can't build up enough speed to get to the second car. And the AI isn't really... It's not really cooperating. Let's see how this works. Hopefully we'll be able to build up enough speed now. I mean, it's close. We'll have to see how this works out on the next couple laps. We're able to sustain just some slight bits amount of speed. Well, that works. Now we just gotta maintain our speed. Okay, so we need to somehow close the 7-second gap. I don't know what these guys are doing. Okay, come on. think... No, we're not going to be able to make it. We're just a tad too slow. Let's see if we can switch up our top speed. I think we're probably at the upper limit of what this car can give us. See how this works out. All right. Alright, so this is where everything will be key. So I don't quite understand how that car got so far ahead of us. It's truly weird. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. We don't have nearly enough. Okay. Yeah, it seems like the AI just... It's so weird. They're not speeding up at all. Yeah, I really don't think having a better transmission is going to make much of a difference between us getting first, because the AI simply isn't working. Let's increase the maximum power. Nope, that won't work. There we go. We can use that. Can reduce weight. This, for whatever reason, is mind-blowing to me. If you use better tires, it essentially means that you get better power, but that isn't really the case at all. You just get better handling and performance. It's weird. So I'm going to use this. Better air filter. Now hopefully this might just be able to get us the winning run. Let's take those off real quick. Okay, so let's see how this works. We're gonna sort of tone back the top speed and see how this works. Nope. I guess we're just gonna have to get rid of something. The manifold we can change out, increase our top speed. Okay, that works. See how this goes. Okay, now we might be able to win. Because it actually seems like the AI is somewhat cooperating with us. Should be able to pass him on the next lap, provided we can close the gap. I think we just might. Okay, now we're able to take advantage of the slipstream, draft right behind these guys, and just pull straight out. There we go. Okay, that worked. Finally. Alrighty, got that to work. Okay, so let's try for the next race. $600, huh? Alright, let's get into this. So, 600. That definitely means we can upgrade to our racing manifold. Let's see how this goes. Oh no. We probably might need new tires. Let's retry that. Muscle cars aren't really, they're not really known for their cornering ability, which is why this is pretty dang tough. There goes the traction control. I remember this track being... what the hell? Yeah, the AI basically tried to ram me off the road. Okay, so here's a high-speed straightaway section. The hell? Yeah, it's not really being helpful. Wow, this track actually performs a lot differently than what I remember. Let's upgrade our car a little bit. So we still have about 50 points available to us, so... let's toss in a brake kit. Never mind, I've wasted some money right there. Definitely better brakes. And shoot. Racing tires. Not gonna come in handy. We'll need this. That doesn't really help us. This will give us a bit of power. Definitely this. And this. Well, actually, we don't even have a turbo on this. Equip that. And we should be okay. Maybe a little weight reduction as well. Seriously? So, the car that we're driving actually carries a spare tire? But we're racing in a racetrack. Why would there be a spare tire when we have, you know, a whole pit crew? That's dumb. Okay, so what a weight reduction does for your car is basically you're just stripping out parts to make it lighter and lighter. What does this do anyway? Yeah, let's do that too. Alright, I think that's enough. I think we just have to reduce our power just a little bit and then we should be fine for this race. Wait. Oh, so that's weird. I thought that was like a hard cap to your car's performance, but I guess not. It's amazing how new parts can make the car handle very much differently. Doesn't seem like the car is really stripped of much of anything, despite the weight reduction. But it definitely handles a whole lot better. Alright, so... Whoops. Kind of hit the side track and then start losing grip. Okay. I think we might even have too much power at this point because the tires are slipping every single time we try to make a slight adjustment. But we should be able to win the race as long as we keep our power in check. Nope. It's actually really hard to control now. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of grip in our tires. Yeah, so now with this car you have to exercise a lot of throttle control, otherwise you're liable to spin out very, very much. Yeah, even just... it's super easy to lose balance of your car. Should be able to make it now, though. Okay. Yeah, you have to exercise a hell of a lot of throttle control. So just like more real handling physics, you really have to gingerly step on the pedal. You can't just floor everything and expect to go. Alright. This is really difficult. Yeah, you have to really be on top of your throttle game, because trying to squeeze too much of the throttle when you're not on a straightaway basically means spinning out. I suppose I like that the triggers are much better designed for this, because I don't think I would ever have been able to get this right with the DualShock 4. But at the same time, I feel like this wears out your controller a lot faster and unnecessarily than in the past. Alright, so we're already about near to taking first. Oh no. Yeah, you really have to be on top of your throttle. Something that I've never been that conscious of doing before in the past, but now you really have to get into the hang of it in order to win some of these races. There we go. Finally. That took some getting used to. Alrighty. Finish that up. And we leveled up. I don't think we get anything. I'm tempted to try another race, but let's see how this goes with our brand new car. Let's try this out. Alrighty. Now this car handles a lot better than the other one. But this racetrack is still pretty tricky to navigate. Especially with this new physics engine. Make sure we don't fall off the side of the road. Sweet. It's the car from Back to the Future. Just gotta make our way past them. As you can see, we're barely even using the throttle in some sections, simply because it's so difficult to control the car. We still have a 3-second lead, so This should be a piece of cake. You know, I'm reminded of when I used to play Initial D in the arcade. Playing the, what was it, the third stage or a third version of it. I was so used to playing with the physics engine in that game that by the time that the 5th game came out, Arcade Stage 5, that it felt completely foreign to me how it played because the physics engine was completely revamped. And that's pretty much how I'm feeling right now. It just, the racetrack feels completely foreign to me compared to how it did in the past when I was playing this in GT Sport. So much so that I've had to develop new muscle memory for this. But we won at least. Now, if ever I was to get a Camaro, I'd get this one. Looks so good. I think I prefer it over Mustangs, actually. Alright, that's it. Let's get out of here. I guess we unlocked some new missions. What's going on over here? Oh, right. So we got to be at higher collector levels in order to unlock these. Either way. Let's see what's going on back over here. Congratulations, got all 3 cars, completes your Camaro collection. Okay, we got our reward. Now what's up? A history lesson about Camaros. If you're familiar with the old Transformer movies, you'll know that Bumblebee was actually one of these. This thing looks so sick, though. Yeah, so it became very popular after appearing in a series of films. Gee, I wonder if it has anything to do with a transforming robot. For whatever reason, that ZL1 actually looks more like a Japanese car than a American Camaro. Take a photo of your car in Scapes. No, I have not. So the game wants us to take photos. That's really what I wanted to do in this game. I just wanted to take photos instead of, driving cars. Okay. Color me confused. But I think this is a good place to stop as any. We've been playing for the last 2.5 hours, so. Yeah, for whatever reason, this reminds me of a Japanese car rather than this. The whole body looks like a Japanese car rather than something that's American. Heck, if you slap the Toyota... Actually, that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of the old 8.6, the 2015's 8.6, especially the GR version. Can we get a car? You know what, screw that, we don't need that car. Just give us some more money. Or give us some money. Gonna go ahead and scroll through all of these. Oh, nice. They put Claire de Lune in the background music. If you guys want to read this more in depth, just pause the video on YouTube. I'm just skimming through it. You know, despite being such a car-focused game, they never really take the time to explain certain, things about cars. I guess what I'm trying to say is that they could, they could decide to, go more in depth about certain terms about cars and explain why they're important, like what the heck is a V8 engine? Why does it matter why it has more valves than, let's say, a V6 or even a V4? Or even why, torque matters. Something, explain to, like, the layman why these measurements matter at all. That's, like, one of the things I grew up not exactly realizing why these measurements mattered at all when you're buying a car, or why they're important when you're racing a car. Like, say for example, a turbocharged 2-liter inline 4. That's like complete nonsense to the layman. Yeah, so it's just minor critiques on how to improve, understanding, I guess, for beginners and people who aren't necessarily car enthusiasts. But that should be the end for this video. So I'm gonna end it here, call it a night. Can't really sit for too long. So if you're watching this out on YouTube, and if you've enjoyed this content, I hope you guys like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoy seeing this type of content from me, go ahead and follow me on Twitch. And for other announcements, other things related to my gaming channel, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. It's all the same name, Lunarlight Games. And I hope you guys will continue to join me. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys will tune in next time.